going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of StarChasers Girls Talk Ball on this wonderful Wednesday evening. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. As you guys know, it's your girl Cravin Cowboys, and as always, I got my girl Star in the building. What's up, sis? How you doing?
What's up? What's up, everybody? So happy to be here for another episode of Star Chasers Girls Talk Ball. You know, it's always great when me and my girl Mickey get together. Sorry we missed last Wednesday because I had core, I had trial, I had shit to do, so I couldn't do it. But I'm glad to be here this week. Y'all know before we get into the content to please like the content, like both of the streams on my channel, Mickey's channel, as well as share the content, please, and also subscribe if you haven't
Please.
already. All of those things are free 99. But something is not free. It's
Right.
also donate to our cash app. Any amount helps. We would really appreciate it. And shout out to everybody in the chat, Jameson, Kelvin, Nisi. Really appreciate y'all being in here with us today.
Yeah, like Star was just saying, welcome everybody coming in. Thank you guys for joining us. As my girl Star said, thank you for spending your time, and she's really been on the roll. And this is I told you guys when I first started my channel, it's really where I get some inspiration from. I'm sure you guys follow her already, but she's been on a tear this week, just really doing some big shows this week. I see her rocking with Boss Cowboy, as usual, Amp. You know what I'm saying? Just really doing some big shows. I mean, generation last week, she was rocking doing the show. So she just really, just really on a tear. And I always just love watching her content because she really offers a lot of information. And as well, the creators that she does shows with just really breaks down, the news, we're going to, some of the things we're going to talk about today, the Micah quote unquote trade rumors, of course, a newer coach interviews came out this week. Just yesterday and some this morning, some along throughout the day, they're finally available, talk to media. And it's been really refreshing, Star, just jump right into it. I'm sure, some of your sentiments can, really be the same as mine. And really just as some of the fans, throughout Cowboys Nation, just here's some of the information through some of these interviews. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you want to talk about first, but you can just jump right into the interviews, because there were, just quite a few of them. But we'll just talk about some, some of the main one. We talked about Eberflus. I think we said talk about Clayton Adams. Just a couple that came out yesterday. A little bit on Junior Adams as well. I'm sure no relation, but the wide receivers coach. Just a couple things from him as well. But I just love just some of the things that we're hearing from. Just kind of jumping into some of the things I'll say, in my opinion. Things I've been kind of hearing in general, just some of the things I kind of picked up on. Some things I've heard is communication. Players first, kind of a mentality, kind of because of course we know right now, and some of the coaches kind of really just kind of come out and say it. They're not really doing football things right now. They can't really be in the building. Players, talking about, of course, game planning, things like that. We know that it's the off season. Just how they're really kind of getting to know the players on a personal level. Kind of building that bridge, right? Junior Adams talked about it. Clayton Adams talked about wanting to kind of, get to know Dak. CD, he's coming in as the, the offensive line. I believe the offensive line coach. I'm sorry, not the offensive line coach, offensive coordinator. And he spoke about having a prior relationship with some of the coaches on the staff, like Connor Riley. Of course, we know Schottenheimer, but just kind of building the bridge with the players, some of the coaches, the front office they talk about. And it's really wonderful just seeing really just the relationship that's really already been building with, amongst the coaching staff, and how they spoke about building a relationship with the players as well.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said, let's go straight to the coaching interview. So I actually have a couple of clips pulled up and we're only going to show clips and with the description. The link will be down in the description. The link will be down in our description. Yeah. Of course, this is Dallas Cowboys content. So like I said, we ain't going to show the whole interview because we're not trying to get sniped. But
Right.
we'll show a little bit. And I think we can start off with Eberflus. We'll do some clips from Eberflus' interview, who's our defensive coordinator, and then some clips from Clayton Adams, which is our offensive coordinator, and then we'll do just a little clip from Connor Riley, which is our new offensive line coach. So
Yeah.
we'll start off with Eberflus. I'm gonna get. Let me just get it. You can keep
Hey, what's good, Sports Junkie? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. If you guys aren't already, make sure you guys follow Sports Junkie. A great content creator. He does a lot of content with Angry Cowboys fan. Also does some solo shows as well. A lot of call-in shows. I love. That's one thing I do really love about their show, that you guys allow the fans to kind of chime in and give their opinion. Kind of call in. You guys be dropping links all the time in the chat. I really love that. Really just the engagement aspect of you guys' content. So I think really appreciate you spending your time and jumping in with us.
Exactly. Shout out to Sports Junkie. Really appreciate him and Angry Cowboys fan. Awesome, awesome content creators. But yeah, we're gonna get into just some clips. This is first Eberflus, and this is a clip about his defensive philosophy.
Concept or philosophy would you say is like the hallmark of the defensive philosophy that you have?
Yeah, pretty simple. We take the ball away. That's what we do. We stop the run, and we want to make exciting plays for our football team, and that's really what we do.
Matt, Newey Scruggs from NBC5. Looking at what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl, they were able to get up there with their 4. How do you get your defensive line to that kind of championship level where you can win the division again?
Yeah, that's really about getting the depth there that we need. I know that we've had some free agents leave us over the last couple of years, but they're really some good pieces.
What did he say? Let's rewind it. I think that's an important piece, because today our show is called what is it? No excuses. Show me the money, Dallas. So, I think this is important because I really feel like Eberflus, more than anybody, kept mentioning the importance of personnel and how you have to have good personnel and you have to
Facts.
So we're gonna get into those clips, but I'm gonna rewind just what he said a little bit. I'm just going to 435. That was the new question, because the first question was just his philosophy. What do you think about that, sis? Where he's saying that basically his philosophy is to stop the run and to get takeaways before I get back into the other.
I love that. I love that he, came out, pretty much, putting what he wants is, I'll say, our defensive identity to be, not necessarily, the entire team, but, he kind of put it out there like, hey, we take the ball away, period. Like, that was kind of like, really the main thing he kind of went in with. And also kind of, and not just right here at this part, but also throughout the interview, kind of mentioned that players being in the right place, players rallying to the ball, he kind of, and also not just Eberflus, but other coaches as well. I think Riley mentioned it as well. Where are the players when the play is actually dead? Like, where are you in respect to the ball? And Zimmer kind of brought up a little bit, but and then not necessarily his scheme had to be necessarily focused on that, but it wasn't really mentioned a lot. But here that he kind of mentioned, where are the players in respect to the field, in respect on the field, in respect to the ball, and how close are they? I just like that he mentioned that, because it's not just about, even if you are the one making the play, what are the guys around you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are they doing to contribute to actually making the play? I like that he mentioned that.
Right, absolutely. And I think, that it's good that we are getting back to a philosophy that does emphasize takeaways, because as much as I love Zimmer's scheme, love the blitz packages, love the way, what's up, Angie? Love the way he moved Micah around and stuff like that. Getting takeaways was not an emphasis in his defense. And I think when you have two of our top corners, even though they are recovering from injury, but when you have two of our top corners in Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, that's their superpower, is takeaways. So
Facts, sis, and not just, I don't mean to cut you off, but we also have guys like Jay Lou, and we also have, Hooker, kind of stuff that we necessarily didn't. And that's another thing, Eberflus has that connection with Hooker, you know what I'm saying? And that's another thing I love about Eberflus too. He not only has a connection with the other coaches that have been there, but, haven't been there previously with the front office and, with Hooker, I believe he coached, Coach Hooker when he was there previously with the Colts. So having that connection as well, he can, Hooker can kind of explain, to the other players, his way of coaching, just like with Zimmer, you know what I'm saying? Even though he didn't have the familiarity with Zimmer, just being a veteran, he kind of, tell the younger guys how to kind of, how they can kind of acclimate to newer coaching staff coming in. Actually this time he's actually familiar with the guy coming in, so it might be a little bit easier as far as being a leader, and not just in the safety room, but just to the defense as well. He can kind of get these guys familiar with his coaching style, and just kind of getting back to the takeaways. Jay Lou, Hooker, I'm saying, even Dono, he had a couple of close calls where he didn't necessarily have that many picks, but I think he had a couple picks last season. So like you said, just meant. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, just having these, like you said, not just having two main guys who can get a lot of those interceptions, but just having everybody kind of get in on the action. I think it's great. Just kind of giving everybody, not necessarily a role, but just kind of giving, hey, you guys' responsibility. Making their responsibility, not just something you can kind of that these players can strive to, but making their responsibility. Hey, we want to take the ball away. That's kind of one of our priorities on this defense.
Absolutely, and I think taking the ball away is many ways, not just picks, but also through, fumbles and things like that. So
yes,
I think it's just super important that, going back to, I do like that it's going to put our players in a little bit of a comfortability because they come from a defense. A lot of them came up under Dan Quinn, which was a huge emphasis of taking the ball away. So, but another thing that wasn't Dan Quinn's emphasis is stopping that run, and I have clips about that, but I did want to replay because he's going to talk about how the importance of talent. So let me play.
And shout out to Lee Harrison coming through as well on the Facebook group.
Yeah, shout out to you, Lee.
NBC 5. Looking at what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl, they were able to get up there with their 4. How do you get your defensive line to that kind of championship level where you can win the division again?
Yeah, that's really about getting the depth there that we need. I know that we've had some free agents leave us over the last couple of years, but they're really some good pieces that are there, to work from. So it's exciting to be able to look at that in the future in terms of draft and acquiring other players that are at special talent guys, and we're excited to get that done.
So I think that's just important because he said the question was asking him Billy was able to get home with their front 4. Like, how do y'all get back on par with that and get in a position where y'all can come back and take the division? And he said, we got to get the depth that we need. Yeah. That's the first thing he said. The most important thing is we got to get the depth that we need, right? Yeah. He said, yeah, we have some good players there, but we're going to continue to look and build on that through the draft and the free agency. So that was something that was,
and I love that he said special talent, not just guys that you go and get,
right?
Actually guys who specialize in that.
Exactly. He said special. He said getting those guys, those special talent guys.
Yeah, and also shout out to Newey Scruggs as well. Actually bringing up Philly, I love that he brought up the other guys in our division. Sometimes the media kind of not just a bad thing, but we focus a lot on the Cowboys. But I like that he kind of brought it up. It's fresh. Of course, we know that they just won the bowl. You know what I'm saying? It's still fresh. Kind of keep it in the front office mind. Like, hey, this is why you want to be competitive because you just saw your division mate. Just win the big one. You know what I mean?
Exactly, sis. We just saw our division, so. When you just seen your division opponent get to the Super Bowl, that should make you want to do more and to get better. Because guarantee you, Philly is going to get better. Washington's going to get better. The Giants are going to get better. But even outside of our division, the 49ers are going to get better. The Lions are going to get better. Green Bay is going to get better. Everybody's going to get better.
Right. You saw the Vikings, y'all. Even with a QB who, flamed. Well, I ain't gonna say flamed out, but who didn't show up. I'll say in that playoff game, Vikings were still there. You know what I'm saying? And some teams could just be a quarterback away. Like we talked about the Giants. I know they don't have necessarily all the pieces, but look at that fire that Malik Neighbors is bringing. That even just him he's gonna be. He could be that voice, on that team that be like, hey. Put some pieces around me, or you know what I'm saying, like so. Exactly. Like you said, it can only be a matter of a quarterback or a piece here, a piece there, and you could be looking at a whole new team. So,
we saw with Washington. I mean, they got Jaden Daniels, and they went into the NFC Championship. So it's really important to get not only talent and depth, but those special players, as Eberflus said. But I'm gonna play this clip where he talks about. Because he said one of the emphasis of his team is stopping the run, and so he's going to talk about how his shout out. I think it was Clarence Hill that asked this question about how can we get back to a team that can consistently stop the run, because we haven't been able to do it for a while.
Brought up
Yeah.
stop and run. You know, it's been a bugaboo around here for a long time. How do you
Definition of bugaboo.
It's been a problem. They haven't been able to get it done. How do you get this team to finally stop the run? I mean,
Yeah, it's really about fundamentals. It's about fundamentals, playing your technique, and obviously the better players you have, the better they are. So it's important to have
Y'all hear that? He said it's about fundamentals, it's about technique, but
fundamentals, playing your technique, and obviously the better players you have, the better they are. So it's important to have that too. But it's about guys being in the right spot and being where they're supposed to be, with the demeanor, that they need to have. So, we've had some good run defenses in the past here. When I was back with Marinelli, I know we had a few years where we were really good. So we're excited about getting that back.
Is that more about the scheme, or is it about the type of personnel that you need?
It's both. It's always both. You can run the same scheme with really good players and it works really well, and run the same scheme with other guys and it's not as good. But this is a player's game, so the talent level does matter. But I do believe we can be where we're supposed to be and have really good fundamentals. Well, it does matter. But I do believe and run the same scheme with other guys and it's not as good. But this is a player's game, so the talent level does matter. But I do believe we can be where we're supposed to be and have really good fundamentals to really help enhance the run game.
you brought up Marinelli's scheme, and I know
so what did he say? He said the talent, it does matter. Hold on.
Exactly.
The talent does matter. Hold on. Talk to me, I got to get my charger.
Oh no, you good. And just like he said, it can be a matter of the scheme that you have, but you can run it with good players, or you can run it with great players. And even if you can even have, I'm sure it can go both ways, where you can have a great scheme, you run it with good players, and they can't execute. You know what I'm saying? You can have all the scheme you want, but if you don't have the players on the field that you need to actually execute that plan, some things may not go according to plan. I just love that I love Eberflus in this interview, because I feel like he's kind of laying it all on the line. You know what I'm saying? And
Up
just
front,
my
first interview.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we kind of talked about this last year, where we do see a little bit more. I'll say a little bit more weapons on the offensive side, and we know that the defense, is kind of lacking. We know, of course, this year we have another linebacker drought. Kendricks is only signed for 1 year. Overshown is, of course, unfortunately down. He went down with an injury. Hey, what's going on, Philly? We got to give you your credit. Shout out to. As you can see, it's kind of paining me to say it, but shout out to Philly for winning the big one. I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for Saquon. I happened to see him today on the Today Show. I will say.
No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Philly.
Right. I will say I'm happy for Saquon, because if anybody, I ain't gonna say if anybody should deserve it, but I'm definitely happy to see him, especially going through so much that he went through, with the Giants. But shout out to Philly for winning the big one. You definitely lapped. I ain't gonna say lapped us, because like I said on Twitter, you guys still got to catch up. You only got 2 trophies, but you guys did this year. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, shout out to Philly. But this is why. Listen.
Brother, but you got to yell that shit. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
And I'm glad he got his name in it too. I'm glad he looked.
Yell that shit. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
We need to be shown the money. And this is in Mickey, can you put that comment up that Kelvin said? He said using the media to get the Joneses to listen. That's first interview.
Absolutely.
First interview. We need to get the depth. Yep. We got some good players there, but we're gonna have to continue to build on that through draft and free agency. Yep. You could have a scheme, but if you got average to bad players, scheme's no good. You need good players. You need not only just good players, but special talent players. And there's another clip, I think, I was going to cut this off, but it's another one that he said that's even more important than what he already said. Like, I feel like Eberflus was what's it called? Pounding, hounding it, saying, we need to get the proper talent in here. If you want to see my scheme shine, we got to get the proper talent. So let me see. I think this is the next clip up.
So you have Micah on the edge, but how important is having a difference maker in the middle, a defensive tackle in the middle to make this thing go.
Yeah, to have pieces along the line, I think, is very important, and the more you have, the better. And you can see that with a couple people in our division. It's important that you have
the more
dominant players. You can't just look and see, and pick on a certain guy in terms of in the run or the pass protection. So it's good to have at least 2 guys, maybe 3 guys opposite each other.
In the time since your
Wow, he said you need at least. What did he say? What did he say?
Pass protection. So it's good to have at least 2 guys, maybe 3 guys opposite each other.
In the time since your last in Dallas.
Good to have 2 guys, at least 3 guys opposite.
Yeah.
So he's making it be known like we got Micah, but who else do we got?
Right. And he actually, and he didn't mention it by name, but he actually, we talked about, because we talked about that a lot with Micah Parsons, right? About being targeted on the line. You get 2 or 3 guys, you show the protection his way. And it's, kind of forces the other guys to step up. But, and of course we know that should be, a factor, right? These guys should be stepping up regardless, right? But if you just had that one main guy on the line, and he's able to be stopped, what I'm saying? And not saying, and we actually saw that last year. We saw guys like Ghostin step up. What I'm saying? We saw Mozzie even improve his game even more, but it's about having those dominant pieces. And like you mentioned, between good and great guys, it's about having that distinction, the players on the line.
Right. It's about having those dominant pieces. And that's why the hashtag, and y'all put it in the chat, this is the hashtag, all free agency. Show me the money, Dallas. That's our hashtag. That's the new campaign. Show me the money. Because your defensive coordinator has already come out and said we need 2 to 3 players opposite of each other. We need special talent. The guys here are good, but we need more. He's already letting you know. First interview, as soon as he opens up his mouth, he's saying, we need more talent there, period.
Right. And I love that Angie mentioned Lawson. Like, I just really, shout out to Carl Lawson, because I just really think that he was, I'm going to go ahead and say, I think he was a sneaky pickup for us this past year. I love that. I think from the Atlanta game, he really just showed a great trajectory that, that we would, of course, love to see since training camp. But of course, we know he got in late, had to learn the scheme, had to, learn the chemistry on the field with those guys. But, I think he showed to be somewhat of a, let me put this right quick. I think he showed to be somewhat of a leader on the field, but I think most of his impact came off the edge. Just really, kind of holding on in on those guys on those third downs where we just really needed the pressure to really come downfield. And I just love that he just kept showing fight, kept showing that he just never really gave up. And sometimes those depth pieces that you do pick up in the offseason, sometimes they kind of fade, as the year goes on, because you do have starters come back, and we did have Micah come back. We unfortunately didn't get to see D-Lock come back, last season, but I just love that his effect was still felt on the field even after Micah returning.
Right. And what you talking about, Lawson?
Yeah, Carl Lawson.
Yeah, I actually would be interested in bringing Carl Lawson back. Now that we got Whitecott, that's a guy. But what we need to do is, I want the Joneses just to really, truly evaluate all that's on the market. And if you can go out and get somebody better than Carl Lawson, then go and get him. Yeah. But if you're looking at the landscape and you're saying, because there's rumors that they said that they want Dante Fowler to return. And if that's the case, I'm kicking Carl Lawson off of a bridge and I'm bringing Dante Fowler back. But
really?
Right. Yeah. Nice. We've been linked. I don't know, but I saw that there's rumors that 2 free agents that Dallas is allegedly interested in. One was Dante Fowler and the other one was guard Will Hernandez from the Cardinals, who obviously was going to play Adams. So,
yeah.
And he
did an interview. I'm sorry, since I'm going to cut you off. He did the interview, I think, during Radio Row, bigging up Clayton Adams and just how he was able to kind of use a lot of the guys on the line and just really been able to kind of advance their game during the year. So I would love it. And we could always use backup linemen, am I right? And someone who knows his scheme. Are you kidding?
Right, wow. Absolutely. And Will Hernandez, as a former, I think, 2nd, 3rd round pick. So this is a guy who, was of high value, still is performing at a pretty good level, and
Yeah.
bring in as much competition as possible.
Yeah,
And
I think he used to be on the Giants, right? He used to be in the division. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
he's used to
yeah,
playing,
he
you
used
know,
to
in
be
the
on the
NFC East.
Yeah, he used to be in the Giants, I believe. But I think that, and I like Chauncey Golston too. I think we should bring back Chauncey because I know he's going to be
Facts.
dirt cheap. He's going to be dirt cheap. So
Yeah.
we definitely should bring Chauncey. I would love to re-sign Osa, but there are other guys out there like Milton Williams. People are saying Javon Kinlaw. With Osa, it really just depends on the price tag because I honestly really like Osa, and I think Osa had what you call a breakout year, to where
Yeah.
this this next season he could be on Pro Bowl, All Pro type of level, and so I really am interested in paying him. I just don't know. You have to get creative with his contract because
Yeah.
who messed up the DT market was the Lions, who decided to pay Aleem McNeil, who literally had no stats at all, but he had that great game against Zach Martin, and they decided to pay him $25 million a year.
Oh my God!
So,
right, and I don't mean no harm to him, but then he ends up getting nicked up. I think a couple games later, and it's like, bruh.
So it's like they ruined the DT market because they jumped
Yeah.
significantly, $25 million. So
Yeah, man.
really, but all in all, that's also just the average per year. Because even though he's getting $25 million per year, his cap hit this year was $1 million. His cap hit next year is like $6 million. So you can be creative with these contracts
Yeah.
to where the cap hits are not killing you. And with that contract, the Lions can get out of it. I think they said in 2027. So it's really just like a 3-year deal. So, and they have the flexibility to push some money out to spread the cap hits or whatever. So you can get creative with these deals. I would like to re-sign Osa. However, if he's too expensive, then sign Milton Williams if Philly don't re-sign him. Sign Javon Kinlaw because maybe you can sign both of those for the price of $2 million. So I'm open to it, but I do think that we do need to get some young dogs in that position 100%. But I don't know. So did you have anything else to say on that?
No, I was just gonna, I was just gonna say I agree with what you're saying, and I love what Angie said. About liking Chauncey, and I agree with what both of you guys are saying about letting Fowler go, and just kind of this discussion in general just really speaks to us having great depth pieces and just how important they can be. Even with our starters, and these guys played like stars. Like even we talked about that a couple years ago when Fowler was still here. He had great impact on the field, but he just had the limited snap. So and we've seen that with. Yeah, we saw that. I think, in my opinion, we saw that this past year with Golston on the field. He had impact on the field as the season went on. But it's just as guys start to come back, and even being on the field, even being on the field with Micah, we saw him. His game kind of jump. So it's just. You never know what these guys have. Never know what these guys have within them until they actually been being put in that moment. So I like that these guys. Yeah, I think their game seems to jump, when they're in that competitive motion, in that motion of not wanting to prove themselves, but just saying, hey, I can hang with Micah. I can hang with these guys. I can hang with D-Law if he's on the field. You know what I'm saying? So it's a boost of confidence, I think, there as well.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you said. Now we're going to play, this is Clay Adams, our new offensive coordinator, and he's talking about basically how he's going to be involved with the O-line and also his opinion. What's up, Willie T? And also his opinion on our new offensive line coach, because they have a close relationship. We didn't know that because I don't think their work history aligned, overlap, but they still had a close they still have a close relationship behind the scenes. So I'm gonna go. So and it made me think that he probably had a big influence on us even hiring Connor Riley, our new offensive line coach from K-State. But anyway, we're gonna play this clip where he's talking about how he's gonna be involved with the O-line and his thoughts on Connor Riley.
You talk about your relationship with Riley and being with it, offensive line coach, how much will you be a part of the offensive line, or will you stay away from that?
I definitely won't stay away from that. I think that it's a little bit to be determined exactly how all those things are going to work, because I think we need to get out and coach these guys a little bit, and we need to get past the point where we're just all trying to speak the same language, which is kind of where we're at right now. In regards to my involvement with the offensive line, I want to have a great relationship with all these guys, and I really want to build genuine relationships so that they know that I'm here to help them play the best football of their careers, and that they know that we're going to have a very clear and communicated standard for what we expect from them. For me, that's going to start in the offensive line room, and I'm very excited about developing a relationship with those guys. But also, like I said, I need to have that same relationship with Dak. I need to have that same relationship with CD. So my time's going to be spread a little bit more in that way. But it's going to start in the offensive line.
With Riley.
And Connor is. I've actually known him a long time. He and I have never worked together. We've talked football many times. Spent, for guys that have never worked together, probably a fair amount of time together. And then I always think this is, you can assess offensive lines or any position group really when you're evaluating what you think that a coach does, but nothing speaks like the tape. And one thing that I've always respected about Connor Riley over the years of just evaluating his players coming out in the draft and even just evaluating his scheme when I was coaching in college, the players play good. And he's had good players too. But that's your responsibility as a position coach, is what's on the tape. Are they doing it right? Are they playing violent? Are they finishing? Those are the things that you look for.
So, what's up, Walter Nolan? What do you think about that, sis?
I like that you picked up on that too, sis, about the personal relationship between him and Riley, because Riley, he didn't really speak a lot about it, but I think the way that Adams kind of divulged a lot of information about them spending, personal time together, I think he said he spent time at his house, they cooked dinner, he cooked dinner for him one time. So just that hospitality factor, I love that. It's the personal part, right? And that's another thing. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning about what I'm hearing from a lot of these interviews. A lot of things these guys are mentioning is not just Schottenheimer, but Zach Martin mentioned it, right? When they asked him about Schottenheimer, the relationship factor about Schottenheimer creating that in the building, and we also see that with the coaches coming in, the relationship they have with each other. So not only do these guys have the professional relationship aspect of it, but they have the personal relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I know we aren't discussing it, but also know it's the same thing. I kind of want to tie that with Steve Shemko. I know he's coming on as a quarterbacks coach. He kind of mentioned last season that when Dak was hurt, him and Dak were spending a lot of time in the box together, right? And it's not like he knew he's going to be the QB coach, right? So and not necessarily that it was all personal, but him kind of building that relationship right there with Dak, that's kind of personal, right? So you're kind of learning his mannerisms kind of in a personal environment, but kind of seeing how Dak sees the game, but not under pressure, because he's not on the sideline. He's not having to make plays on the fly, kind of having to do things on the fly. He's kind of chill, laid back, so they can kind of have that discussion on a personal level. So when you hear Adams and Ryan talk about how they spent personal time together, they knew each other for, I think he said 13, 14 years. So they have that background together to what you can, not only professional level, like I said, but that friendship. You can have the hard conversation that he talked about, Shotty even having the conversation with Dak. They can have, even, I think Adams even mentioned that, they that right now they're staying in the hotel. They spend that time together, getting to know each other, the icebreaker phase, blah, 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 honeymoon phase. I think, Adams mentioned that as well. They're kind of still in honeymoon phase. But, he said, by the end of the night, they were cracking jokes. They were laughing. It was kind of like, even though they had to relink 4 or 5 years later, they kind of really got back to where they were before. So I just love that. I just love the personal aspect of all of this. And these guys are getting to know each other. They're getting to know the players. They're getting to know the environment that they're in. They're already kind of familiar with the environment they're in. So it shouldn't, although we do see a lot of new faces coming in, that's kind of thing we're talking about. Last year, new faces coming in, new scheme, new this, new that, new this. We're kind of afraid about these guys kind of have a hard, kind of have a hard time transitioning. But I just love that all these guys have such a personal relationship with each other. It may not be as much of a transition, quote unquote, that we, that we may think as an organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, and give you some touch. I think that is one of the important keys, is that these guys, even though, they may not have, like he said, we never worked together before, but we've known each other for 15 plus years, and he didn't specifically say that, but Connor Riley says that, but he, Clayton Adams here says that, like, we haven't worked together, but we have spent a lot of time together. So
Yeah.
it shows that they already have that bond, that relationship, right? And so, like you said, which is good for like continuity and necessarily. And what up, Lou? Shout out to Lou.
It was
Y'all
good, Lou.
know
How you
he's
doing, fam?
one of the best content creators we have out here. So y'all please go subscribe
Yes,
to
please.
his YouTube channel. He does phenomenal breakdowns.
Yeah.
So please go check out his with film and everything. So y'all go check out his channel for sure. But yeah, the relationship, and what's up, Plebo, John Jones? Glad to see you.
Yeah.
Glad to see you guys. But yeah, these coaches, they already have this relationship. But like Mickey said, it's good for the continuity, but it's also good because they can have those tough conversations, right? Because they already have the relationship where they know that, hey, we're just battling it out to come to a resolution. It's not, bad blood or
Right.
trying to disrespect me or anything like that. So that's important. I think it's also
Right.
important out of what he said, though, is that he's going to be very, very, very involved with the offensive line. Because he's like, that's where I'm going to start. And I love that because guess what? It all starts in the trenches. You live and die. Philly won the Super Bowl because they won the trenches. And
Facts.
so on both sides
He
of the ball.
he talked about that since he went in almost into detail. Like, I want. He didn't say necessarily offensive line, but he said he wants all the players to be violent. He wants all the players to be in the area of the ball. I'm saying he wants to be honed in on the details. You know what I'm saying? He just
Right.
really wants these guys to really be where they're supposed to be on the field at all times.
Absolutely. And I think it's just important that it seems to me that an emphasis is going to be, we're going to get this O-line back to greatness. We're going to get this O-line back to performing at a level that it should be performing at, because honestly, our O-line has been underperforming. I don't know how long. It's like when
Right.
you look at the talent on the O-line, it's like, oh, y'all should be good. But then it's like when we get to the games, it's not as good.
Right,
There may be
right.
good individual performances, but as a whole line, we're not playing together like we should. So
Yeah.
definitely going to be an emphasis there. Then I'm gonna play this clip where he talks about problem solving, which I think is important because we just, under Mike McCarthy's regime,
In a way, it ends where it begins.
and I gotta let this ad play. But we were expecting Mike McCarthy to like kind of have like those problem solving skills and kind of be that answer, because we didn't have the answer with Kellen. So we were expecting Mike to come in and be that answer for us.
Right.
When Dak didn't have the answer, when everybody doesn't have the answer, we're looking to you, Mike, to help us right the ship and get us back on track. But that just was not Mike McCarthy. He didn't have the answer. So
Right.
I'm hoping that this new coach regime will have the answers so we can listen to what it says about
Yeah.
that.
And right quick before you play that, sis, I because you brought up McCarthy, I think because earlier I mentioned you hear a lot about the coaches talk about communication. It's starting to make me think, and this is not a huge knock on McCarthy, but it's starting to make me think that he kept a lot of stuff close to the chest, because Schottenheimer talked about over communicating with Will McClay. Almost every coach has been available to the media, has talked about, we want to communicate, we want to let each other know what we want to do at all times, we want to let each other know where we want to be, we want to let the players know where they need to be, we need to coach these players, that. It's like they really want to be on the same, want to be on the exact same page. I think the way they're emphasizing this, it's starting to make me think that, we talked about it, Mike McCarthy delegating what he wants the coaches to do, but I'm wondering if there were any kind of blurred lines or maybe miscommunicate, not to be really intentional, but any miscommunication, not trying to be funny, but it's just the way they're kind of overemphasizing. Even when McClay was like, Schottenheimer's going to over communicate. I've never really heard people say, yeah, he's going to over communicate to what he wants to mean. And I'm like, for it to be that heavy on the communication aspect, it just kind of makes me think, like, was McCarthy keeping a lot of stuff close? Like, I know he wanted to maybe he was trying to prove some things, but maybe he just wanted to prove things so bad. Maybe he didn't want to let everybody else know what he was up to. Maybe I don't know.
Wanted to do. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
What's up, Am? Y'all know
Am.
Am. We got the content creators coming in here. Am is
Facts.
another Great content creator. Y'all make sure to go check him out and subscribe to his YouTube channel if you haven't already. But yeah, I think that the front office and the coaches are just using different words. Communication. Another big word is alignment. They're talking about alignment. And those are just things. It was clear that they were not aligned. They were not having the communication. Because I think Mike McCarthy kind of he wasn't aggressive enough in his ideas and what he actually wanted. I think he would kind of share it, and then maybe Jerry and then will be like, let's do this. And then he'd get upset, and then he'd go with that. Just so it could blow up, and then he changed it. And it's like, unfortunately, when you have that type of mindset, we lose in games. You got an internal fighting, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. So I just think that synergy that you needed as an organization with Mike McCarthy, it just wasn't working. And I just think ultimately, like, Mike could not. We thought that he can really work with Jerry and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, not really. Because he couldn't work with Jerry to the point that he could actually get what he wanted until it was kind of too late, to be honest. But anyway, you can keep. Sis, you have something else to say about this, or you want me to play?
No, you good, sis. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna play the clip and I'm gonna go off camera real fast.
Okay.
Play it. And this clip is. This is about problem solving.
I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to feel like down the road or any of those things to answer your question, but I am excited about the opportunity and the fit for what I think that this job is going to be, which, really is trying to figure out, at the end of the day, our job when we're putting things on the call sheet is to be problem solvers. And so we're trying to figure out, what do we do good and how do we make that look multiple? How do we make that look different? And so that's the part that I'm really looking forward to focusing on. And I think it's also, it's a leadership position within a great organization. So that's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. And the answer your question about down the road, I don't know yet.
Hey, Josh Tolentino, Lone Star Live. Jonathan Gannon was, probably,
I don't care about that. But anyway, and so y'all know in the clip, he's just talking about the importance of problem solving. He's like, because they ask him, like, you want to be because they always doing that. You come here, you're not calling plays, you want to call plays. He's like, listen, that's down the road. But he's like, my job is to figure out what we do well and solve the problems. Basically, give the answers to the test so that the guys can play free, so that they can play violent. You know what I'm saying? I think that was one of the things that he said, are you playing violent? Are you playing aggressive? Are you hustling? Basically,
exactly,
to the ball and always around the ball. And then he talks about his type of offense, which I'm gonna skip a little bit. They asked him what type of offensive line he wanted, but he was like, this is really what type of offense we're trying to construct. So that's 9. Okay, here we go.
From park to peak.
Sorry guys, y'all know. That's stupid.
And shout out to Dak Jones Filthy too. He snuck in here too. What's up, fam? How you doing? Really appreciate everybody joining us. And make sure you guys hit the like button as well.
That I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game, be aggressive, run, hit. I think that every decision that we make schematically, and that is to about when you're doing it.
Bobby Belt from 105 your offensive lineman.
The same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game, be aggressive, run, hit. I think that every decision that we make schematically needs to lean that direction. So if there's gray area, what is going to allow these guys to play more free and run and hit and be violent?
Bobby Belt from 105 to the fan. In regards to the offensive line,
and I just think that's crazy to me because I'm like, I never heard somebody on offense say that our philosophy is to be violent, run, and hit. Have you heard that, sis?
No, not at all. Like,
I've never heard that on offense.
No, for real, the energy that these
Like a
coaches
defensive
are
mentality.
bringing is crazy.
Yeah, like it kind of doesn't sound like that sounds like a more of a defensive mentality compared to an offensive mentality. And so, them saying this is basically what Shoddy is preaching to them. What's up, guy? What is it? Hall of Fame Dak. What's up? Sadiqa, Miss Charles, glad to see you. Glad to have you in the chat. But I think it's just kind of crazy that it feels to me. Now, of course, these are just the interviews, right? We have to see what the finished product looks like. But it does seem to me like that's why I put in the thumbnail, I said, is our new identity violence? Because it seems like everybody's talking about running and hitting and being aggressive and hustling and we're gonna take them on, we're gonna do this. It's like basically like we're gonna oppose our will almost. Like that's what I'm kind of gathering from what these coaches are saying. Of course, there's other interviews that haven't been displayed yet on the defensive side of the ball, but I think they were even saying our new defensive line coach, White Cotton, he was talking about how he wants every freaking play like you feel like your heart's about to be out of your chest because you're running so hard to the ball. So it's like it's just like everybody's like, we need to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to have that aggressive mentality. You got anything to say on that, sis?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, I really love I just love that not just Eberflus, but we also see Adams kind of being in the forefront of what he wants the offense to look like. I mean, and that's kind of thing. Another thing I noticed that he was talking about, and Sorensen as well, the new special teams coach, he talked about the players that are here. We talk about, I think earlier I mentioned the defense, kind of lacking weapons. But I think, like I mentioned earlier, with the offense having weapons, Sorensen mentioned that, of course, with the guys that we have over here, Turpin, Brandon Aubrey, of course, displaying what they displayed, these last couple seasons. And actually, Sorensen mentioned, that some of the meetings that they had with the 49ers, that Turpin was talked about as far, not just being the kick returner, but he was actually considered a weapon, on our offense. So I just love that.
That's an important nugget. That's a cool nugget. I didn't get a chance to listen to Sorensen because I just never care about special teams. But that is important because I think a lot of people, I'm not showing the clips of that, but if y'all listen to these coaching interviews, a narrative that has surrounded us is like, nobody, and the Dallas Cowboys 100%. This is not absolving front office of anything. They 100% have a plethora of issues, and a 30-year drought backs that up. But what I'm talking about is like these coaches seem like, they chose to come here because the organization does have so much respect, and they have so much respect for the organization, believe in the organization. And then, it's another thing that like people don't really respect our players, but for, Sorensen to say, no, if San Fran, we respected Turpin. We thought of Turpin as an actual weapon, which we need to resign him. But it's just still important that, I think a lot of times we could just think that we are the laughing stock of the league. And I don't think that that's necessarily the truth. I think that we have issues. I think that people are aware of our issues, but I don't think that we're just the laughing stock and nobody respects, Jerry and Steven. Nobody respects our players. And I think it's interesting because we're getting an outside perspective because these coaches are not guys that have been here. These are coaches from other organizations from college who are
you got to I don't mean cut you off, sis, but you got to give yourself a hand right there because that's something I don't think a lot of people don't talk about. Like these outside coaches coming in really just show a lot of respect. And I don't know if you guys watched the Pro Bowl games, but the way Turpin was getting down, like they were showing mad love to Turpin, and from the announcers to the other players, like I just feel like Turpin, Brandon Aubrey, like I know we fans laugh and joke like, oh, no one has a kicker like us. Oh, well, we got an Aubrey over here. Like they show a lot of respect to our special team guys, and like you just said, like some people like may look at special teams like, oh, well, I'm not, I don't want to pay attention to that, or it's just special teams, but just some of the players that we have. I think people, like you said, not just showing respect to our team, but like you said, even other kickers around the league. We see, and not talking about stuff off the field, but Tucker, he went down this year. Elliott, the Phillies kicker, he was missing kicks this past year. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys, you know what I'm saying? So some of these kickers, you don't really see a lot of kickers getting a lot of reverence around the league. Like you saw a lot of kickers getting picked up last season. So I don't really think kickers, I don't think a lot of kickers don't give respect that Brandon Aubrey gets. Even returners, Turpin, I'm saying, and I'm sure, I don't think Sorensen is the only guy in the league that thinks Turpin could be, or 49ers were on the team that thought Turpin was a weapon. You know what I mean? I just think that, I just really love that, the young guys are just really coming about themselves. You know what I mean? Like Amaris Leofau, I think he's really a standout. I think he just really, maybe a lot of people really don't know his name right now, but I just love that with Overshown going down, a lot of people talk about Overshown a lot last year, and rightly so. But I really think that, once we get those, if we were, I know we don't have Kendricks anymore, but having those three on the field just really had a really big effect. And I just love that these younger guys are trying to make a name for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And with these coaches coming in, like Overshown mentioned, wanting to win with Shotty because it's both their first one. And so I just love that these young coaches are coming in, like you said, making it clear what they want. You know what I'm saying? They want to change the organization. They want to have a big effect on like you said, a top rated organization in the league. I just really think they want to make a stamp for themselves.
They want to make a stamp. They want to make a statement. I think that's important because, when you have coaches that have been in the league 25, 35 years, they just don't have the same hunger. They don't have the same hunger and that's why I'm kind of glad that we kind of went with like this youth movement where we got these younger coaches. We got coaches from around the league, from good organizations, and then we've gotten coaches from the college, the college realm league or whatever you call it, but the college, level. I would say the college level from very good organizations like K-State, from Oregon. You know what I'm saying? Like these are top programs, and so you bring these coaches here who are like, we want something to prove. We want to continue our because these coaches are considered good coaches around the league, right? And so they want to continue that here for the Dallas Cowboys and be able to change the narrative, because the narrative has been forever that we are soft, that we cannot stop the run, that we can't win when it matters. You know what I'm saying? And so they're trying to flip that. And so with that, I'm going to play this clip of Clay, and he's talking about his coaching style. And I thought this was real interesting, how he said, because I could kind of tell from his temperament that he's kind of no bullshit, but this is what he says that his coaching style is.
As a coach?
I think two things. Number one, I see myself as a teacher as much as anything else. I feel like two of my biggest passions in life are teaching and learning. And number two, I really, really try to think about in regards to how I communicate with the players on the field, in the meeting room, is controlled energy. And so I'm not going to have a lot of blow-ups. But it's going to be very focused beams of here's the problem, here's the solution, here's where we're going to try to get that done, rather than I'm not really a big blow up scream guy. But they got to feel the intensity.
Thank you.
And that part was the important part where he said at the end, I'm not going to replay it, but where he said, you got to feel the intensity. He was like, I'm not going to do, some of those people, because sometimes you got the coaches that are like, rah, rah, they scream and they slam stuff and they do all this stuff. But he's like, that's not me. I'm just, this is the problem. This is how you need to fix the problem. Simple as that. Like, I don't have time for the games. I don't have time for the bullshit. Right. Do what I say or sit down. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a very important mentality that we need, because we have had some discipline. What's up, Steven? We have had some discipline issues on this team across the board. And I think that it's important to bring coaches here that are not going to tolerate that, and they're going to hold players accountable, to the best of their ability, as long as we don't have Jerry and Steven trying to play de facto coaches. These coaches are going to try to coach these guys as hard as possible to bring out the best in them. And honestly,
Yeah.
we still had some O-line clips, but from what's his name? Mr. Riley. Should I
Riley.
play those or should we just
I
talk
don't know. It's
about
up to
it?
you, sis. I don't know if you have time. I don't know if you have time. Let me know. How your time looking before you.
Yeah, it's like 7:00. I don't know if I'm still doing the show. I was supposed to do another show, guys, but I have not heard back from them. So maybe we're not gonna do it tonight. Maybe it'll be another night. So I think that I can play these clips quickly from
Yeah, and I got that. I just had that one. Actually, can I play?
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead
have the
and play
one
that.
from. I'll play the one from Riley because actually, and that's actually perfect because you just brought up accountability, and I
Yeah,
just yeah, actually, guys, if you just want to flow me right quick, I had this interview from Connor Riley, of course, as we know, our new offensive line coach, and this interview actually takes place before his 2024 season, of course, his last season with Kansas State. And he actually talks about culture and how he thinks that, and of course, in my opinion, I think it applies to both the pros and college. But he just talks about how kind of going through adversity and if the players, like Star mentioned, I don't want to talk to you because I just want him to explain it, but about coaches, about players taking accountability in their role in the game and just how going through certain situations kind of build a chemistry within the locker room. Let me cut this music down.
I tell people all the time, the locker room, I tell people all the time.
And then before I just play this as a precursor, this is actually through Tim Fitzgerald. He has a podcast, Life of Fitz. I think I just typed in Connor Riley, looking up the new coach hires, but I came across his podcast. I think he does a lot of, he actually covers K-State, but he has a lot of some interviews with some of the staff through K-State. And I think he has more of a personal rapport with Connor Riley. They kind of give the background kind of earlier in the interview, but I just kind of highlighted this portion of their interview. But if you guys do have time, make sure you guys do check it out because it is a great conversation. Mr. Riley does go into detail of when, not too much detail, but when he was playing, but kind of his early career and just kind of how his background, is more so about when he was at K-State, but because of course this happens, obviously before he even thought about coming to the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. And y'all, please if y'all haven't already, please like the video. Please like the stream on both of our channels. That would be great because y'all know the more y'all like the video, it pushes us out to the algorithm so more people can see our content. But go ahead, sis.
All right, got you.
I tell people all the time, the locker room is the most delicate ecosystem in the universe.
It is.
And you introduce just one foul piece into that locker room, and you can really see the culture diminish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we have got to continue to protect because you can look at going back to the championship in 2022, and that was a culture championship. That season was with many downs and many ups, and throughout the course of the year. And it was our culture that allowed us to prevail, that allowed us to get a stop on fourth down. It's people often ask me, they're like, shoot. And culture is built a lot of times by the adverse situations that you face. That's the thing people oftentimes forget. We heard it all the time. Gosh, if you wouldn't have lost this game, you'd be in the college football playoff in 2022. Well, if we don't lose that game, learn the lessons, grow from it as a program, as a football team, do we win the Big 12 championship? And obviously we'll never know that, but the consistency that coach really shows, there's not, even after a tough loss, there's not an ass chewing in the locker room. There's not. It's a realization of ownership and a realization that we need to grow and move forward. And that's what culture allows you to do.
Right.
And of course, obviously, guys, just talking about, I think he was talking about his time, at K-State when he took over as the offensive coordinator from being the offensive line coach. And he's just talking about, like I said, I don't know if you guys follow me. I don't follow a lot of college, so I apologize not knowing the full background of his time at K-State. But he is talking about the adversity that they went through. Of course, coming into a new position. I just thought it was a good parallel with him coming in as a new position coach with the Dallas Cowboys, and just what we can expect. And saying, as we can see through his other interview, I guess I say his introductory interview, his passion, his for the players. I'm saying making sure that all the players are on the same page. But also, I just like that he mentioned about protecting that, because we saw that. I don't want to say a lot, but we saw what kind of the effect that negativity can kind of have on the locker room. I'm saying we saw even now. I mean, that's, I hate to say it's Cowboys culture. I know we didn't talk about it a lot tonight, but quote unquote Micah rumors. Micah being traded. This quote unquote Super Bowl headline that maybe Jerry wanted to create. To get click, likes, and views and things like that. But we see it a lot. CD went through it last year. Dak has been and the Cowboy, and other players, I don't want to say always go through it, but we just kind of, we saw, Zeke go through it in the past. Cooper, he was out of here because he didn't agree with the front office. So it's just something that I think it's really important. Like I said, I think that's a great general statement, just in football period. These players hold. I believe, like I said, I'm not a player, but I believe that players hold that sacred. What goes on in the locker room stays in the locker room. Dak doesn't, like to mention what is said in the locker room. What I'm saying, we saw, I think in this past season that they withheld some access within the locker room because there's a lot of things just going on. From Mike McCarthy and Mike McCarthy's comments on Micah and vice versa, and I'm saying what was CD and Dak not getting along, did CD say anything to Dak on the sideline? I'm saying, and even that's a lot you see through the media. I'm saying, not just the Cowboys media, but on TV. We talked about. I think his name is Collinsworth, the broadcaster, saying, was CD saying anything? Were they fussing anything? I'm saying, so it's just. Even if they don't do it intentionally, even if it's just a question in their mind, they could just be thinking out loud. Next to the fans are thinking, oh man, maybe he's right. Maybe there was discord between Dak and CD, and as it turns out, and even I was wrong on that front. And as it turned out, it was just them going back and forth, and Dak was just it's game time. He's honed in on the tablet, so it's just like. Some of these issues, quote unquote, can just do sometimes come out of thin air, but at the same time, even if there is negativity in the locker room, us as fans, anyone outside the locker room shouldn't know about it, because I think that's his point, is that what goes on in the locker room, as I'm sure as we always hear, should stay in the locker room between those players, because that's really their foundation. That's really where they kind of build the chemistry and where they build those personal relationships. I'm saying? Because that's off the field. That's how these guys. I'm saying, and I learned that just from listening to interviews from last season. How Overshown was able to get close with John Stevens, and I forget the other wide receivers' names, but the three players who were on injured reserve at the same time. Those two were in I believe in that player's wedding, because they grew so close to each other. What I'm saying? So it's just. The relationships are very important on a personal level with these players, and like I mentioned earlier in our show, I just love that the coaches are making that another priority along with communication amongst each other. They're trying to get the communication and the personalization amongst the players as well.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. I think that obviously, and something that he talked about is that, and what's up to Carl, JV? I think I already shouted out Steven, but glad to see y'all in the chat. Yeah. And y'all, I don't think Hall of Fame Dak is trolling. I haven't seen him say anything that's kind of trolling, but I don't know. Maybe he has said something that was trolling, but I didn't see it. But so,
I didn't even realize.
Right, but they going off him like, you trolling.
Right.
I don't know, but whatever. If he gets out of line, y'all can snipe him, but I don't think he's done anything inappropriate. So y'all chill out. But anyway, yeah, I think that culture can be established. Culture can really be established through winning, because that's what really builds the bond, right? You build the bond behind the scene, but when you overcome that adversity together, I think somebody said strength. Somebody had a good comment. A strength through battles together. That's how you build, right? Because you can say all the time, I got your back, blah, blah, blah. We gonna do all this, but
right.
You only really can know that, truly know that, is when you go to battle with somebody, right? And you come out alive.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can talk all day about, I'm going to do this. And if anybody do this to you, I'm going to do this. But it's like, okay, but when we fight, you running.
Where was you at? Right. I'm right.
Exactly. So it is about, and hopefully, this is what this is going to be his main thing. He said, what makes him different is that he's a relationship person. He's pretty good at the X's and O's, but
Yeah.
he's a relationship person. So that's what I really want to see from Shotty. Can you really bridge that gap? Because I've said it seemed like we were very segregated under Mike McCarthy. It was like, we defense, we offense. You didn't see that brotherhood, and that's why we always lost in the big moments. So I feel like Shotty really bring us together to where we're all playing as one, one band, one sound, instead of all these different sounds. Because if he can, then we will see different results. And we are going to do that show tonight, but I did want to talk about this because this is the last thing we can talk about. We didn't really talk much about these rumors about Micah being traded, but I mean, honestly, I done talked about that so much, it would be a dumb idea. I mean, that's the summary of all of what I gotta say. I don't know how you feel about that, sis, about trading Micah, but
I mean, no, I mean, I like I said, I've been following the shows, and I mean, even when I saw it coming out Super Bowl weekend, I was like, man, really? Like, I mean, it was talk like last season, but I didn't think I would actually, just in my opinion, I think I would actually really actually see it in black and white in a tweet. Saying, inside talks of, but as soon, I saw, chatter coming about talking, it's just, headline grabbing. Even when I saw CD retweeted talking about some, aren't y'all sick of this? I was like, okay, I'm glad that it's finally, they're finally getting it corralled, like, I mean, that's what you've been talking about all, last season about the players speaking up. And I'm like, lo and behold, they're finally, stepping forward and actually shining the light on the BS. So it's just like, baby, for me, it's baby steps. If we can see progression, even slow, they say slow and steady wins the race, right? I'm saying, and we may, as a fan base, be the most and have the right to be the most impatient fan base. You know what I mean? But if we're taking steps, of course, actions is one thing, words is another. But we have Stephen Jones saying, we'll take a look at free agency. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? We have players stepping up saying this. CD quote tweeting, Micah saying we need a call to action in front office. I like seeing, we didn't see this last year. You know what I'm saying we didn't see it last tumbleweed last year. Exactly.
And that's such an important point is that, you can trade Micah Parsons for a load of picks, but to me, you're not going to be better this year or next year without him. And I'm trying to win the Super Bowl today.
Right.
Are we going to win Super Bowl this year? Who knows? I know everybody will say no, hell no. Okay, but the bottom line is, Dak and CD got 3 years left on their deal because they already down one. So they only got 3 years left. I'm trying to win now. I'm not trying to focus on building in 2026 or 2027 or 2028.
Facts.
I don't know what the hell's gonna be happening by that time. I'm trying to win now.
Right. And that's how I feel. Like we've been talking about the big three for this long. Why would you even think about trading one of the big three? You know what I mean?
And
so
like, unless, and people we talked about this the other day, how people were like, oh, we can get a Herschel Walker trade. Y'all, ain't nobody ever gonna do the Herschel Walker trade ever again. Everybody in the history of the NFL knows that the Vikings got 110% fleeced. No one is ever doing that ever again. So no one's going to give us 3 first rounders, 3 second rounders, 3 players, and all that type of crazy shit. Ain't nobody doing that. Nobody's doing that. And I don't trust this front office to trade Micah properly and to get the right compensation and to get the right player to replace him. And the only player you could even consider that would be Myles Garrett. But I'm trying to stack on what we have, not get better by subtraction, because that's what the Dallas Cowboys do. Let's get better by getting rid of Amari Cooper. Not happening. Let's get better by getting rid of Tony Pollard. Let's get better by now, allegedly, let's get rid of, even in the past, Des Bryant and all this type of stuff. It's like, you didn't get better. You got worse.
Exactly.
And I'm get back to that place. So like a couple years, because even rookie Micah, like those players are not their rookie selves are not who they are 4 years into their career. Be for real.
Exactly.
No matter how the talent is, they ain't gonna be the same player. So even if you get Abdul Carter, okay, he's still a rookie. It's gonna take him a while to get to where he needs to go. And everybody's calling him Micah 2.0. So why the hell would you get rid of the original for the alleged prototype. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I did want to end the show on this. I don't know if you had something last to say about that, sis. But if not, I can just talk about this.
No, Carl did earlier mention his comment. I said this is kind of where I rock a little bit. Like, not saying picks are bad, because I rock with picks and having a lot of picks and trying to pick the top available players. But I'm kind of right along the lines with this. Like, you have Micah's a proven commodity. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you can name off rookies who have great years. Like, we see a Bucky Irving. You know what I'm saying? We see Jared Verse. You know what I'm saying? Even Fisk. You know what I'm saying? I think he was a second year player, or a first or second year player, but it's not always a guarantee. You know what I'm saying, with draft picks. You know what I'm saying? And although you can always shoot for the sky, but you just never know what you'll really get.
You never know.
Like you said, Mike is always a bullseye.
Exactly. Like, you already have the Hall of Fame type player in hand. Why would you trade him? Trade him for unknowns.
Exactly.
Because you could hit on those picks or you could miss miserably. Like, it's just, you don't need to do that right now. If we were going to trade Micah, I feel like we would need to be like a 1 or 2 win team. Then I would say, yeah, go ahead and trade him, because we need to do a full rebuild. But the fact that we were competing with Washington, who just made it to the NFC Championship, with our backups, like, I think we need to build on what we have. Because as I said, Dak and CD only have 3 years left. I know people are like, oh, well, yeah, Dak is going to be gone, but CD will stay here. I'm like, and why do y'all think that?
Right.
Why do y'all think that? Y'all think when Dak's gone, CD's just gonna be like, oh, I'll be loyal to the Star? Hell no.
Please.
He's gonna go find where his buddies are, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, all his friends from college, and he's gonna go play with them, just like Devontae Adams did to go play with Carr before they traded him. Like, these players ain't just about to stay loyal to the Star when Jerry and them are playing games with their careers. They're not about to do that. I know y'all think so, because they're like, well, historically. Well, it ain't historically. CD ain't Dez Bryant. CD he's not Dez Bryant, so he's not just gonna stay here forever until the wheels fall off and then try to go play. Like, CD and Micah, they're serious. They want to win championships. They want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so
and they're on
3 years here. The next 3 years or next 4 years, they're gonna be gone. They're not gonna sit here and wait around.
Exactly. And they're and just a quick point, they're on social media. You know what I'm saying? And they may not necessarily they feel this way, but us fans talk about the Cowboys wasting the players' talent, right? You know what I'm saying? So the players, if they see something like that, not saying they feel that way, but I'm sure they feel a kind of way. They're at the most prestigious quote unquote organization, but you can't pick a free agent like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I love the quote that Micah came out with, saying, "I don't want to sit back and watch everybody else build while we sit back and stay the same." Like, I'm so glad he said those words, because if that's not black and white to Jerry, then I don't know what is, bro.
Exactly. Like, we got to
say, like, we can't sit back where everybody else do stuff. You know what I mean?
Like, everybody gets better. Like, we've lost a lot of free agents 2 years in a row. Like, we have to get better. We do not have the same roster that went 12-5 3 years in a row. So I wish people would stop thinking that was the past. Since then, we've had multiple loads of free agents leave. Like, we have to get better, because if we don't, we're going to be falling further and further behind, because, like I said, the rest of these contenders are going to get better. They're going to use the free agency. They're going to use the draft. They're going to get better. We cannot sit here and rest on our laurels and just keep doing the same stuff over and over again. So that's why the hashtag is Show Me the Money Dallas. But anyway, the last thing, it says the NFL today informed teams that the 2025 per team salary cap will fall in the range of $277.5 million to $281.5 million, way up from the last year's $255.4 million. Cap will have increased by more than $53 million over the last 2 years. So this is why we're saying, show me the money, Dallas.
Facts. Like Fat Joe said, it went all the way up. The Joneses are. It went all the way up. All right.
Went all the way up. We're tired of the excuses. There's no excuses this year.
Right.
We know what you can do if you restructure Dak, if you restructure CD, that opens up like, I think it's like 80 something million then you can restructure Diggs, you can restructure Steele, you can cut some people and end up opening near $100 million. So don't play with us, Jerry and Steven. We're not here for the games. We're not going to win any Super Bowls or truly contend if we continue to ignore free agency. It's not going to work, and we're not going to sit back again another offseason so you can do something like sign one or two low budget free agents and think that's going to get it done, because it's not.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
But anyway, you got something
Facts.
to say before we let
you seriously summed it up, because that's perfect. Like you said, like we seen last year, and actually a couple years ago we talked about it. I believe that the NFC quote unquote was wide open a couple years ago. I think that's turned out to be true, because like you just said, sis, last year we saw a lot of contenders step up, and just in the NFC alone. You know what I'm saying? This is we're not talking about both sides, both conferences. We just talk about the NFC itself. So you can imagine, like you said, another year. Teams that were great get even better. Like you said, free agents, other teams that didn't participate, teams that do have money now. You know what I'm saying? Able, a whole nother draft to come around, quarterbacks coming out. Like some of these teams could be a quarterback away. We talk about the Giants, and then we talk about both conferences, but the Raiders, not saying they have all the pieces, but some of these teams could just need a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And just talking about just improving for the Cowboys is my last point. I love the coaching staff, the attitude that they brought in here, and I love just the energy, the excitement, the refreshment. I just love that everyone's just really putting it out, just really on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? I just love that they're putting their goals out, what they expect from the players, and not saying it out loud, but also what they hope to expect from the front office. And I just love that. And I know we saw it last year too with Zimmer. I know he said that, we would need these pieces, we need this, we need that. But I think with everyone being over communicating, everyone being on the same page, everyone putting it out on Front Street, what they want, what they require at their position, being that position coach for that particular room. I think it's going to, hopefully, fingers crossed for me as a fan, it'll go a long way with the front office. And hopefully being a little bit more, I'm just putting a number out there. Let's say it's 10 against 2. I'm saying, are there's 2 guys in the front office going to sit there and say, oh, we're going to do it this way? Or are you going to have the 10 guys that you just brought on that you're going to pay, that you hopefully going to put some foundation underneath, because you don't want these guys to be on another 1-year contract, right? So these guys want to be here for some time, build up their career. So hopefully the front office will give incentive to all these new coaches coming in and give them a reason to stay and give them a reason to help our players progress and grow.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said anything better myself. I'll end with this.
That brother, but you got to yell that shit. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
Show me the money, Jerry. Show me the money, Dallas. That's the campaign. Put it on all your tweets, Facebook. Y'all can even post that clip. That's from Jerry Maguire. That's why he's saying it. Gotta say it louder, Jerry. So show me the money, Jerry. I'm tired of the excuses. Show me the money. But anyway, thank y'all so much for rocking with us. I do have another show I gotta get to at 8:00, so I'm trying to get out of here so I can hear up and eat something and then get back online. So y'all catch me later. I'm going live with Boss and Amp. But thank y'all so much for joining with us. Y'all know we love y'all. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe. And also donate. And sis, can you let me stop sharing so you can put us. And then also donate to our Cash Apps down there below if y'all feel so kindly in y'all heart to do it.
Yes, like Star said everything.
Cash App. Who sent me Cash App? Oh, Julius. Dang, he sent me $20. Thank you, Julius. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Julius. I think my guy David came in. Thank you,
David. And Cowboys Nation 600. I believe like at the end too.
Right. Sorry if we missed anybody. We try to shout out everybody as y'all come in. If we missed you, we apologize.
Yeah, Dak owns Filthy as well. I think I saw him kind of sneaking during the show. I don't know if we shouted you out or not, but thank you as well for joining in the video, fam. Really appreciate you.
Yep, thank you. And y'all have a good night. Thank y'all. Y'all can catch me. I'm going live again at 8:00 with Boss Cowboys. So thanks.
Spin the block, y'all. Spin the block.
Spin the block, and hopefully we'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all.
Yeah, enjoy you guys tonight. Have a great night.